Okay, you guys, I'm back with another video. Something different this time. I bought this sewing table for like $10 and super excited to paint it black. I love it, but I wasn't in love with the color, so I'm like, well, I can make it a fun project. It was only $10, so you know, maybe some cools. I definitely needed a sewing table. That's why I went hunting for one. So I don't have anywhere really to store my sewing supplies. So hope you guys enjoy this video. If you have any tips on what I can be doing wrong, like I said, I never painted furniture, never did upholstery, so just a learning experience. Yeah, any tips that you guys have, just share in the comments, and let's get to work. Okay, so I'm going to start with removing the drawers. I did store a couple things in them beforehand, so I'm just removing that. And I'm going to take the hardware off as well. So when I paint, I don't paint over that. I want like a nice professional look. So I'm removing those. Baby girl, look at those thighs, honey. I'm looking extra fucking strong. I recently got back in the gym, trying to get it back right and tight. So just doing the same thing with that drawer, removing the hardware there. I couldn't remove that handle off of the desk, so I just kind of painted over it with a small brush towards the end. But now I'm going to get started with my detail sander. I was told to use an electric one to get the gloss off of the sewing table there. It just helps with my painting process, just to give it like a clean start off. So yeah, just I started with the electric sander, just all around the sewing table, legs. I did the drawers. I did all around. Now you do get the, dust flying everywhere as you're doing that. So you definitely want to make sure you wear your safety goggles. And if you want, you can put on some gloves. I had like some of those clean and rubber gloves. So I just put those on because I didn't want to like get a splinter or anything because that dust is flying everywhere. But, I think it turned out pretty well. The sander did come with 2 sandpaper pads that you put on the bottom of it. So, you just use one of them, go all around. Now, after I used the electric sander, I did buy individual sandpaper sheets. And that was just to help kind of smooth out my work. That way everything would, it'd be nice and even when I start to paint. So it was just kind of like a finish. So definitely want to invest in like individual sandpaper sheets and go all around, whatever you're working on, whatever desk or, entertainment center, whatever you're working on as wood. So yeah, it wasn't a long process at all. I know I started with not using my gloves and my safety goggles. I did forget. But, just so you know, I would start with it first. Like I said, first time doing this, so I'm getting everything together. Okay, and that's my paint there. That's the Pittsburgh. It's a primer and a paint, so I love the 2-in-1s. Make sure you invest in some good brushes, because I did end up buying like some cheap brushes, and the hairs kept like showing up as I'm stroking my paint on the sewing table. I noticed that I was getting pieces of the hair from the brush in there, or hair pieces in it. So I had to keep going over my work to kind of, pick those out. So definitely invest in some good brushes. I did buy good quality paint. I will say that. It's a 2-in-1, and it was like a semi-gloss. It's used, mostly for wood projects, and also, wall, if you're painting your walls. So I guess the gloss is good for if you get like any writing or something on it. It comes off a little bit easier. So I did get like a small amount in all black of that brand, and I think it turned out really nice. So I'm just doing strokes back and forth. It started to get really sunny when I started to record after a while, so don't mind my camera there. It was hot as shit that day, I'll tell you that. But yeah, I'm just doing the first coat. I did end up doing 2 coats on this dresser or sewing table here. Okay, there is my first coat done. I didn't do the drawers yet because I got tired. It was hot as hell. So I did save that for a little bit later. But yeah, it turned out really nice. I was satisfied with the results. That's the handle that I did not, I couldn't get that one out. So I just kind of went around it, and I'm just going to go back over like, you know, the smaller parts of it with a really tiny brush, so I don't end up painting over the handle. But so far so good. Okay, so that's my first coat done there. I end up bringing everything in the house. So it started to get dark. I wanted to continue painting everything. So yeah, I brung everything in. I did invest in some better brushes because those first ones did not work out well. But yeah, better brushes, same paint. So I'm going to start with my second coat. And as you can see, it looks really nice. You got that semi-gloss to it. I did the drawers. I did go over that handle with a tiny brush. Yeah, it's just like I'm in love with it. It's exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to end up putting my handles back on, and that's my stencil that I'm going to use. Okay, so I went to Menards. I got everything from Menards, just in case you were wondering. But I had just got a little craft all white paint just for the small project here I'm about to do. So I wanted that, I forgot how you pronounce it. I think it's Borex. It's like a fashionista symbol, a vintage like symbol that a lot of fashionistas use. So I really love that print, and I think it's pronounced like Borax or something like that. But either way it go, I really wanted that symbol on the side of my sewing table. So I printed out the image, and I just tried to cut in between, you know, so that way I can kind of pretty much like create my own stencil. So some of the spaces were too little to cut in between, so I just kind of freehanded, but the ones that were big enough I did go in between, as you can tell. And you know, I just freehand the rest. I didn't think I was that crafty, so I was like very impressed at the end results. It did take me some time to do that, I'm not even gonna lie, but you know, it was worth it. So I'm just finishing up, putting a little bit more detail on the symbol here. I thought about doing the other side as well with the symbol, but it took me so long just to complete this. I'm like, yeah, this is good enough. If I want to go back on another day, kind of, you know, add a little bit more to it, I will. But as far as now, I'm just like, yeah, this will do. So I literally, for my mistakes, I was just using a baby wipe. I ain't put nothing on it. It was coming off just fine. It wasn't making my black paint come off either. Yeah, everything turned out pretty well. And that is the end of my project. Thank you for watching.